Good evening, and welcome to this October 21st EastCast. I'm Mira Silber with Lisa Taylor to bring you the news of the week. The big story tonight is the visit of Vice President Dan Quayle to the South Jersey area. On Monday, approximately 90 East students went to the Woodbine Inn in Pennsauken to see Vice President Quayle. Introductions, which took almost 45 minutes, were made by our Congressman James Saxton and State Assemblyman John Rocco. Quayle's appearance lasted only 20 minutes. Most of his speech was spent criticizing Clinton's programs and issues. Very little time is spent on Bush's plans. There are about 400 people, including people from at least 5 schools. Outside the Woodbine Inn was a group of Clinton supporters rallying up and down Route 73. In just 2 weeks, we will know whether Quayle will be a vice president again or just a footnote in our history books. In other election news, last week the freshmen voted to elect their class officers. Here's Andrew DeChristopher with the winners.
Joining me today are freshman president Jackie Lichtman, vice president Liz Elsis, secretary-treasurer Cheryl Weinberg, and publicity manager Brian Kravitz. First of all, congratulations on your successful campaigns, and thank you for joining me today. Brian, as publicity manager, how are you going to get the information about how to get involved to this year's freshman class?
Well, right now we're working really hard to get flyers out to the homerooms, and on these flyers they're going to tell everyone what's going on with Spirit Week. So if you have any questions, just get in touch with us in homeroom C118. Thank you.
Cheryl, could you define for us your role as secretary-treasurer?
Well, at the SJA meetings, I'm going to take the minutes of the meeting and we'll run them off, and the representatives will be each be assigned a homeroom, and they'll read it off to your homeroom to let you know what happened at the meeting. Thank you.
Liz, how do you plan to organize this year's committees for freshman activities?
Well, the first big activity coming up is Spirit Week on the week of November 16th. And as Brian has said before, we have a flyer coming out to all the homerooms to let people know what committees there are and what they want to get involved in. And after people sign up and we elect our representatives, we'll go through and pick chair peoples for the committees and let everyone know what's going on.
Jackie, as president of the class of 96, what are your goals for this year?
Well, our main goal is to get everyone involved, and without everyone, we can't do half the things that we plan to do. We really do need everybody's help, so please get involved. We need it.
Well, once again, I'd like to thank you all for joining me today. This has been Andrew DeChristopher with the freshman class officers.
And here I am again with this week's SAT word. This week's is probity. It means integrity, uprightness in one's dealings, and complete honesty. For example, the presidential political campaign seems to be lacking probity. Anyone who has gone through the Cherry Hill school system remembers those great days back in elementary school when we got out of class to go to the book fair. Now, for the first time ever, Cherry Hill High School East will be holding a book fair from October 28th to the 30th. Head librarian Peggy Beck feels that students need to be re-encouraged to love reading, and so she's organized the fair to offer classics and lighter entertaining books as well as posters. There will even be a discount on spoken arts records. The library staff has invited all the English classes to come to the book fair and encourages anyone with an interest in reading to come to the fair. That means anyone in the community as well. So come on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday next week from 8:30 to 3:30 to East Book Fair.
This year's Battle of the Bands promises to be a huge success. The chairpeople, John Albright, Liz Phillips, and Nicole Weinberg, were very enthusiastic because 10 bands tried out for 6 spots. The chairpeople used stage presence, reliability, and overall sound to pick the best groups for the battle. Elizabeth Phillips explained that they try not to judge the bands on the type of music they played, but rather how well they played, regardless of the judge's personal taste. The order that those 6 bands will perform will depend on a random drawing which will be held sometime before the event. Nicole Weinberg, the chairperson in charge of judges, says that she's trying to contact WMMR's Errol Bailey. The other judges will be from local New Jersey bands. The event will take place in the auditorium on Friday, the 23rd of October. Admission is $4. After reading Beowulf, Dr. Pavone assigned his English 4A classes to make a model of the monster Grendel. Some students took the assignment most seriously. Room B150 looked like a Halloween masquerade as students paraded their interpretations of the green monster Grendel, who had superhuman strengths. He was able to kill 12 men at a time and chomp them all for dinner. Beowulf mortally wounded Grendel by wrenching off his arm. Bon appetit!
The Cherry Hill Alliance on Alcohol and Drug Abuse is the proud sponsor of the 1992 Red Ribbon Campaign in Cherry Hill. In their aim to strike out drug abuse, one of the new events this year is a bowl-a-thon. Whether you're a professional bowler or a fun-loving amateur, this is an event for everyone to enjoy. Join them in their commitment to a drug-free Cherry Hill on Sunday, October 25th at Baker Bowling Center, located on Cuthbert Boulevard between Route 38 and Route 70. The fee is $10 per bowler, with a pledge to enter a bowling team of 4. Each team will be provided 1.5 hours to bowl in assigned lanes. If you do not bowl yourself, consider sponsoring a team to represent your organization. For information, call 663-5987. That's 663-5987. Help make Cherry Hill drug-free. On Saturday, October 31st, Halloween, a haunted house sponsored by the Thespian Society will be open to children between the hours of 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. The cost will be $2, and all profits go toward a charity for leukemia in honor of Ken Garland, a disc jockey and a resident of Cherry Hill. There will be amazing special effects, a maze, scary costumes, short skits, and more. The whole project has been very well thought out, and has never been done before at East. Everyone is encouraged to participate, for it is a great way to get involved, and it supports a very good cause. At night, there will also be a dance sponsored by the Thespian Society at East. It is open for all students attending East, and some other students from a variety of schools. A disc jockey will be there to play music, and food will be available in the cafeteria. Along with that, prizes will also be awarded for different costume categories.
And now to Andrew DeChristopher with the sports.
Well, it has been an emotional week in East sports as East athletes and fans felt both the joy of victory and the agony of defeat. On the positive side, East boys soccer team capped their successful season by clinching the Olympic American Conference title this week with a 2-0-1 record. In their first game, the boys pummeled Willingboro 9-2 as Dan Neves, Adam Shane, Jason Koenig, and Mike Lean scored 2 goals each. Then, in a crucial division matchup, East battled Triton to a scoreless tie to maintain their undefeated record in league games and to clinch the Olympic American title. Earl Walker recorded the shutout for East in a defensive but exciting game. Following this outstanding achievement, the team took the field for the 3rd time this week. The result was a 2-1 victory over Bishop Eustace, as Dan Neves and Jason Koenig each netted second-half goals. The team's record now stands at 8-2-1, and they are ranked number 8 in South Jersey with 5 games remaining before the start of the state tournament. Now for the bad news. The Cougar football team dropped their 2nd straight game against Group 4 opponents, seriously hurting their chances at making the playoffs. The Cougars' high-powered offense was shut out by a relentless Camden defense, which sacked East quarterback Ben Steinberg 5 times and kept star running back James Francisconi in check for most of the afternoon. In the meantime, the East defense continued to struggle against the run as Camden running back Damon Weish piled up 241 yards rushing, including both of Camden's touchdowns in East's 12-0 defeat. In other disappointing news, the girls' soccer team dropped out of playoff contention last week, marking the first time since 1982 that the team has not qualified for postseason play. Going into the week, the team needed to win 4 consecutive games to reach the 500 mark in time for the state cutoff date. Despite the girls' 3-1 triumph over Gloucester Catholic, the team's playoff chase was thwarted in a 2-0 defeat to 14th-ranked Haddonfield. The team, whose record now stands at 3-7-1, did have a disappointing season, but not without reason. The team returned only 3 starters from last year and was made up primarily of underclassmen who struggled in the early part of the season to build continuity and team chemistry. However, they have been showing much improvement recently, and the continuing progress of talented junior Melissa Derpobosian, along with the sudden emergence of young players such as freshman goalie Jody Brenner and sophomore winger Karen Greenberg, may make East a serious contender in the very near future. In other sports, the field hockey team moved closer to clinching a playoff berth with a 1-1 tie with Cherokee. Danielle Cohen scored East's only goal. In the meantime, the boys and girls cross-country team improved their South Jersey rankings this week with solid outings in the South Jersey Open and the Camden County Meet. That's all for sports. This has been Andrew Christopher.
There were over 100 girls dressed in their numbered uniforms, waiting to see if this would at last be the year that the juniors made their victory. It was the Powder Puff Game, East's annual opportunity for girls to have their turn at football. 2 teams are composed in September, one of brave juniors and the other of seniors. For weeks they practiced diligently, waiting to at last show their athletic abilities at their single game last Sunday. Don't worry, it's not tackle football, Stephanie Stern, known on the field as Swan, says with probity. Still, this did not stop the game from being extremely physical. A huge crowd congregated to watch the game, and it was a very spirited event. The seniors, as has been the tradition, won, but of course there's always next year. That's it for the news tonight. Special thanks to Mr. Gordon Hampson, cameraman and editor, and to Mr. Keith Haynes, advisor. Thank you for joining Mira Silbert and Andrew DeChristopher and me, Lisa Taylor, this evening in our constant dedication to probity. Stay tuned for East-West Boys Gymnastics, which follows the junior high school news. Tonight we leave you with Ophelia, all dressed up and ready for the thespian fun night. Good night, Ophelia.
Good evening. I'm Genevieve Garrido.
And I'm Debbie Wickus.
Welcome to the West Report. The big story this week is Big Al. Big Al Zolak, a former professional basketball player and recovering drug addict, visited our school on October 20 and 21st. Big Al presented his program, Do Hugs, Not Drugs, to the student body of Cherry Hill West. His program dealt with alcohol, drugs, steroids, and any problem that children and adults of today face. On behalf of the school, I would like to thank you, Big Al, for excellent programs you presented to our community.
When is the best time for parents to meet students' teachers? Back to school night, of course. This year, back to school night was on October 14th. It began at 7:30 with a meeting in the auditorium. Then the parents were sent to run frantically around West, attempting to follow their teenagers' schedules. In each 10-minute period, the teachers explained to parents what the course is about, how the grading system works, how to get extra help, and the importance of homework. Parents who attended now have a better understanding of the demands of a day at Cherry Hill West. Saturday, October 17th, marked the date of the PSATs. Interested sophomores or juniors qualified to take this test. The PSATs give students practice for taking the SAT because both have the same kinds of questions and similar scores. Test results will be available in the guidance office in December. Good luck to all who took them.
On Monday, approximately 100 students from History 1 and 2 classes attended a trip in which they could meet the current vice president. Joined by many other school groups, the visitors from West patiently gathered awaiting the arrival of Mr. Quayle. When he finally arrived, he spoke for 15 minutes and quickly left. Most students were disappointed by the short appearance, but were happy for the privilege to attend such an event. And now, here's Dave Marika for this week's sports.
In sports, let's take it to Washington Township, where the Lions football team were set to tackle the top-ranked Washington Township Minutemen. West takes the lead 7-0 early in the first quarter as quarterback Kevin Carlton ran it in from 1 yard out. Could they keep the lead? Not for long, as the Minutemen scored 42 unanswered points and drubbed the Lions 42-7. Joel Correa had another strong game rushing for West. Gloucester Catholic next Saturday, 10:30 a.m. at the West Stadium. The boys' soccer team is back in the thick of the race as they defeated Edgewood 3-2, Overbrook 2-0, and Willingboro 8-3. The number 15 ranked Lions are now a very respectable 8-3. Brian Bianco scored 6 goals last week, giving him a team lead of 18 on the season. West, who has already qualified for both the state and the coaches tournament, will play Deptford, Washington Township, and Pennsauken this week. How about that girls' soccer team? They had a splendid week by tying Pennsauken 1-1, and the 19th ranked Edgewood 1-1 also. Nicole Feliciano and Miriam Cozen scored the goals for West. The team will play Deptford and Washington Township this week. Could Julia Dunworth lead the Lady Lions team to another victory this week? Yes, she said, as she scored the lone goal in West's 1-0 victory over Camden Catholic. The team fared well against Shawnee also last Saturday, only giving up 4 goals to the highly ranked Renegades. Can the team beat Washington Township and Bishop Eustace this week? We'll report the scores to you next week. The boys' cross-country team placed 9th in the Camden County Championships last week. West Dave Zuzka took 16th individually, 1 minute and 12 seconds off the winner. Also, the team was just beaten by Triton 28-30 and Highland 17-42. Zuzka placed first in the Triton meet. The team will compete against Camden and Overbrook tomorrow. The girls' cross-country team faced even better last week by placing 8th in the Camden County meet. Jody Sanders took 21st in the race. Also, the team won and dropped 1 in league play, defeating Triton and losing to Highland. Sanders and freshman Jen Jennings ran well for the team, which will also run versus Camden and Overbrook tomorrow. The Lions tennis team entered the state tourney against Millville last week, exiting the same day, losing 4-1. Monika Berwagen was West's only victor in the match. The club will finish its season versus Eastern, Paul VI, Lenape, and Cinnaminson this week. Idle last week, the boys' gymnastics team will compete against East and Lenape in a tri-meet at Lenape on Friday night, and the girls' team will volley against East and Haddon Township this week. Well, that's all the sports. Now back to the West Report.
On Wednesday, October 14th, 72 of West students took a field trip to the golf farm in Voorhees, New Jersey. These students have been studying the sport of golf in gym for the past few weeks. Students were split into groups of 4 to play an 18 game of chip and putt. The winners for the day were junior Jordan Miller with the low gross net and senior Jason Rhodes with the low net. Junior Gary Scepter was the only player to score a hole-in-one. Senior Brian Connors exclaimed when asked about the trip, "It was both informative, entertaining, and it helped me learn more about the game of golf while missing some classes."
On Saturday, the Asian Culture Club had its first picnic at the Pennypacker Park. Club members from East, Eastern, and Lenape were invited. All had a fun-filled day of sports and other activities.
Burger King, Cherry Hill West cheerleaders, what's the connection? Cashola night. The Cherry Hill West cheerleaders sponsored a fundraiser on Saturday, October 17th from 5 to 9 o'clock on the Burger King across from the mall. If you stopped by Burger King Saturday night, you saw cheerleaders greeting and serving customers, face painting, and even cleaning tables. Between 5 and 9 o'clock, the cheerleaders received 20% of Burger King's sale, which amounted to $150. Varsity cheerleader Michelle Schapphauser described the event as a really fun way to make money. The class of 1995 will be holding a car wash on October 24th. The prices will be $3 for seniors, $4 for cars, and $5 for vans. Also, if there are any sophomores who are not in government but would like to help out with the car wash, please contact sophomore government in homeroom E41. The elections for freshman class government officers will be held soon, now that a class advisor has been found. Be on alert for any announcements if you are interested in running.
Last Saturday, the senior class government headed by Mr. Munyon sponsored an annual hayride for students from St. Elizabeth School. After the hayride in Marlton, the 6-year-old students had a delicious snack. This activity was paid for by the senior class government. The sophomore class government is sponsoring a trip to the Philadelphia Zoo on November 14. The cost of tickets per person is $12, and it includes transportation and admission to the zoo. For any additional information, please see Mr. Josephs or any of the class officers at homeroom E41.
Thank you for watching the West Report. Please join us next week at this time. Stay tuned for the East-West Shawnee Gymnastics meet following the junior school news.
Good evening. I'm Lindsay Weiderman.
I'm Diane Zivikowski.
And I'm Karen Greenwald.
Welcome to Carusi News. Our top story tonight is a big story not only at our school but the rest of the country as well. It's election time, and here's David Zalkman with Mr. Murphy.
Why did you decide to have this election?
Dave, what we wanted to do is we wanted to give students an opportunity to experience the political process and thereby to simulate this particular convention.
Okay. What would you like the students to accomplish?
I think if they're involved in this process, they have the opportunity, number one, to not only experience, but also to feel a part of the campaign. And that's a critical issue, I think, as we try to apply what was learned in the classroom outside of the classroom, and I think that's a key ingredient.
Okay. What positions can students run for?
We had a number of different opportunities for students, from the head of the campaign, the presidential candidates, vice presidential candidates, to campaign staff members. And I wanted to take this opportunity to announce that the successful candidates for these roles for the Democratic Party, that will be headed by Aaron Seliger as Bill Clinton, Jason Portnoy as Al Gore. On the Republican team, Peter Woodworth will role play President Bush, and Micah Spector and Julie Schneider will share the role of Vice President Quayle. Finally, the Independents will be headed up by Jenny Correa as Ross Perot, and Nick Strasser will role play James Stockdale.
Okay. Who will vote on the candidates?
What we have here at Carusi is really a twofold kind of program. As an outgrowth of the classroom presentations, students will be role-playing various voters from different states across the United States. Therefore, from the classroom will come, and through the study, will come a prediction as to how different states will vote. For example, each social studies teacher has been given a region of the country to study in detail, to look at voting patterns from the past 8 presidential elections, and thereby to have students come up with a prediction of how that region will vote. When we combine all of that together, Carusi students voting one way, which we're calling the role play, they will help us predict the outcome of the election on November 3rd. On the other hand, recognizing, of course, student interest in the campaign, students will be given the opportunity to participate in a personal preference vote that will be held on Friday, October 30th. So we'll tell you how the nation will vote, and we'll also be able to tell you how the local area here of Cherry Hill will be voting based on student preference.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Mr. Murphy. Carusi offers students an opportunity to pursue various interests. This time it's called Enrichment Period. Here's Diane with the story.
Carusi offers a unique period during the day called enrichment. Enrichment takes place after homeroom and before first period from 8:40 to 9:25. During this period, students can take part in many scholastic and extracurricular activities. Some of the activities that take place during enrichment are school newspaper, yearbook, dog obedience, student council, chorus, band, orchestra, intramurals, library club, Carusi News, and gym leaders, just to name a few. Students can use the points they earn from these activities to get their maroon and white awards at the end of the year. The Carusi News staff asked Mrs. Lavallo, head of enrichment activities, her thoughts on enrichment. She believes it benefits students because it allows time for interactions between teachers and students with each other. Carusi is always looking for more enrichment ideas and teachers. If you have an idea or wish to be a teacher of an enrichment activity, contact Carusi at 667-1220. Enrichment also gives students a chance to use the library and do research if they need to. A big advantage of enrichment is that it gives students a chance to get any extra help from a teacher. Enrichment is very important and a well-used period of the day for many students at Carusi.
Thanks, Diane. And here's sports with Karen Greenwald.
On Monday, Carusi 8th grade field hockey played at home against Beck. The girls began with the strong offensive plays by Tara Zanzer and Christine Fee, Cicely Curian, Diane Zibikowski, Stacy Edelman, Catherine Corrigan, and Renee Breskoff. Defense blocks by Nancy Copenhaver and Kelly Woodcock. A shutout at goal by Lindsay Weiderman. The winning goal scored by Natalie Scherer and Michelle Harp gave the girls a 2-0 win. On Friday, the girls played Morristown and played a strong game. Unfortunately, the girls were scored on twice, but are anxious to play again next week. Good luck, girls. The Carusi 8th grade boys soccer team have done well this year by defeating Edgewood, Haddon Township, Glen Landing, Morristown, and Riverside. Defensively, the team's shining stars have been Mike Young, Mike Fiore, and goalie Dave Schwastik. Playing well offensively have been Ben Salerno, Devin Kelly, Brandon Womack, and Jim Lipunetti. The team was then matched on Monday, October 5th, by their crosstown rivals Beck. The whole game was a battle of the Warriors. The teams finally ended up playing a double overtime 3-3 tie. Carusi's goals were scored by Haley Jones, Jim Lipunetti, and Ben Salerno. Playing well defensively that day were Mike Fiore, Matt Alimi, Mike Young, Matt Sweeney, and Jim Lipunetti. Also, Dave Schwastik made some very impressive saves as goalie. Carusi News reporter Nick Hollis asked Mr. Klein, the 8th grade boys soccer coach, where he sees his team going down the road. He said that he would love to go undefeated, but he feels that Beck is still in their way.
Thanks, Karen. We would also like to thank the following Carusi News staff to their contribution to this broadcast: Seth Demowitz, Stacy Edelman, Nick Houlis, Michelle Harp, and Leslie Ryan. We'd also like to thank Mr. Gertz, who is our advisor. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Beck's Big Time Blowout!
Look at what we've got to offer.
I've had the time of my life, and I never felt this way before. Yes, I swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you. What else have we got? Food!
Great snacks and refreshments.
We've also got many games.
Go. Yes.
We've even got Super Nintendo.
We also have scary movies.
Or just hanging out with friends. Be there, October 30th, from 7:30 to 11 o'clock.
Be there or be square.